We live in an era when little agreement is found. So we live in an era that could stand alone as a sentence, but when little agreement is found, could not. Um, and we therefore would begin with we live in an era up top. So we is the subject. And what are we doing? We're living. So we live. And is this transitive? So we would ask, what gets lived? Uh, and the answer in this sentence is nothing. If the sentence were, we lived our life, then of course, what gets lived? Our life. But there is no answer to that question, what gets lived, in this sentence. Instead, we have a prepositional phrase, which is telling us when we live, or when do we live? In an era. So it's adverbial, it's coming off of live, which era, an era. And then we get when little agreement is found. And this is answering the question, what kind of era? An era when little agreement is found. That's what kind of era. So that tells us it's a relative clause, so it goes below the noun that it modifies. Now, something, so is always a verb, so that's our verb, is found. There's our verb. What is found? Little agreement. And the noun there is agreement. So that is therefore the simple subject, little. What kind of agreement? Little agreement. So little agreement. And that leaves us with the relative adverb when, the one word. And when is it found? When. That's when. So we draw, and as far as diagramming goes, we draw a dotted line between the relative adverb or the relative pronoun to the noun that is being modified. So we have a couple of noun phrases here. So one, if we broke off this, for era, the noun, which is the head of its noun phrase, you get an era when little agreement is found. Everything that you would be waving around if you broke off the diagram here is the meaningful unit. So it is the noun phrase in this case, because we're breaking off a noun. So in an era when little agreement is found, and there's one more noun phrase here. If we broke off the diagram there, what we'd have in our hand is little agreement. So there is another noun phrase inside this larger noun phrase. And those are the noun phrases. There's one prepositional phrase, of course, in an era when little agreement is found. So we see that inside that prepositional phrase, we have two nominal phrases, an era when little agreement is found and little agreement. So those are the phrases in the sentence.